This is the sound of a secret war. A war fought not with bullets and bombs, but with logic, linguistics, and sheer intellectual fury. For every battle raging across Europe and the Atlantic, there was a parallel conflict happening here, in a quiet English manor house called Bletchley Park. And the key that helped unlock that war was not a grizzled general, but a 19-year-old literature student named Mavis Batey. Her weapon, her mind, her battlefield, a sheet of paper. And her victory would save thousands of lives without a single shot being fired. Welcome to Top Tier TV. We all know the names of Churchill, Eisenhower, and Patton, but the story of World War II is also the story of thousands of unsung heroes whose contributions were kept secret for decades. Among them, the codebreakers of Bletchley Park, and Mavis Batey's story is one of the most remarkable. Plucked from her German literature studies at University College London, she was recruited for a job of national importance. She had no idea she was about to become one of the most brilliant cryptanalysts of the war, working directly under the legendary Dilly Knox. She arrived at Bletchley, this strange, secretive campus of geniuses, eccentrics, and overworked clerks. The air was thick with cigarette smoke and the intense pressure of a world at stake. And Mavis, the young student, was about to prove she belonged. Her first major test came not with the famous German Enigma, but with the Italian Naval Cipher. The Italian fleet was a major threat in the Mediterranean, and the Allies were blind. Mavis was assigned to Dilly Knox's team, a man known for his unorthodox methods and intuitive leaps. He saw something in Mavis, a nimble mind, a talent for lateral thinking. The breakthrough came from a mistake. An Italian cipher operator, growing lazy, sent a message that wasn't the required long encrypted preamble. It was just nothing. Mavis, with her keen eye, spotted it. It was a null, a blank, and in that blank, she and Dilly found a chink in the armor. They realized the Italians weren't using their cipher machine correctly. This tiny error, spotted by a 19-year-old woman, allowed them to reconstruct the Italian codebooks. The intelligence that flooded in was a tidal wave. The British Admiralty now knew the precise location, course, and intention of the entire Italian battlefield. The result was the Battle of Cape Matapan. In a devastating ambush, the Royal Navy sank 3 heavy cruisers and 2 destroyers. It was a crushing blow from which the Italian Navy never fully recovered, and it was made possible because Mavis Batey, her team, had handed the British fleet the enemy's playbook. The Mediterranean was suddenly a much safer place for Allied ships. But the ultimate prize was always the German Enigma. And in the North African desert, the British 8th Army was being outmaneuvered and outfought by the brilliant but brutal Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox. Rommel's advantage? His supply lines were secure, and his plans were a mystery, all communicated via an Enigma machine the Germans believed was unbreakable. This was the Afrika Korps Enigma key, and it was Mavis's turn to take center stage. The moment of triumph didn't come from complex mathematics alone, but from a fragment of human predictability. The codebreakers were waiting for a crib, a guest piece of plain text that matched the encrypted code. They needed a known phrase the Germans would use routinely. On a tense day in 1941, that crib arrived. It was a weather report. The Germans, in their efficient, bureaucratic way, sent the same formatted message every day, but they had changed the settings. The Bletchley Park machines, the bombs, designed by Alan Turing, were struggling. Mavis was working on the problem. She knew the structure of these weather messages. And then, she had a flash of inspiration, a hunch based on her deep understanding of the enemy's habits. She proposed a specific, unproven crib. It was a long shot. She handed her theory to the bomb operators. The massive, clattering machines whirred to life, their rotating drums trying millions of possible Enigma settings. And then, it stopped. A match was found. Mavis Batey, the literature student, had broken the Afrika Korps Enigma cipher. The intelligence, codenamed Ultra, began to flow directly to British commanders. Now, they knew Rommel's every move, his supply ship schedules, his fuel levels, his battle plan. The impact was immediate and decisive. The British could intercept his fuel convoys at sea. They could anticipate his attacks. The tide in North Africa turned. The victory at the Second Battle of El Alamein, which Churchill called the end of the beginning, was built on the foundation of intelligence that Mavis helped unlock. When the war ended, the victory at Bletchley Park was one the world could not celebrate. The secret of Ultra was so vital, it was kept classified for nearly 30 years. Mavis Batey, along with thousands of her colleagues, simply went home. They could not put their work on a resume. They could not tell their families what they had done. They carried the secret of their war-winning contribution in silence. It wasn't until the 1970s that the story began to emerge. Mavis, finally free to speak, became a passionate historian and preservationist, fighting to save Bletchley Park from demolition and ensuring the world would finally know the stories of the men and women who worked there. She hadn't just helped win a war, she had helped save the place where it happened, turning it from a secret into a monument. She passed away in 2013, a true, if belated, hero. The story of Mavis Batey forces us to redefine what a war hero looks like. It wasn't just strength of arms that won the war, but strength of mind. It was the intellectual courage of people who worked in obscurity, whose genius was their country's most closely guarded weapon. Her legacy is a powerful reminder that history is not just made on the front lines, but in quiet rooms, by people who dare to think differently. So, what do you think? Does Mavis Batey deserve to be a household name alongside the great military commanders? Who are some other unsung heroes from history that you believe we should cover here on Top Tier TV? Let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. We have a fantastic community of history lovers here, and we read every single one. If this story of hidden genius and silent service inspired you, if you believe these are the stories that truly define our past, then please help us out. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are dedicated to unearthing the most incredible, often overlooked tales from history. Tap the bell so you won't miss our next journey into the past. Thank you for watching. Remember the name, Mavis Batey.